following short story is from the Des Moines Gazette, Thursday, August 3rd, 1899. It's an incredibly interesting topic that they were talking about putting gold and silver into currency. What if the mine owner would be enabled to discharge his debt with half the number of ounces? Who on God's green earth would care as long as he paid his debt in dollars? The issue of money is a function of government, and we direct the attention of the advocates of the idea that gold is the only standard money to the last legal tender decision of the United States Supreme Court. This decision covers the coinage point exactly as follows. So under the power to coin money and to regulate its value, Congress may, as it did with regard to gold by the Act of June 28, 1884, Chapter 95, and with regard to silver by the Act of February 28, 1878, Chapter 20, issue coins of the same denomination as those already current by law, but of less intrinsic value than those by reason of containing a less weight of the precious metals, and thereby enable debtors to discharge their debts by coins of the less real value. A contract to pay a certain sum in money without any stipulation as to the kind of money in which it shall be paid may always be satisfied by payment of that sum in any currency which is lawful money at the place and time at which payment is to be made. If the mints of the United States are open to coinage of silver, more money will be put into circulation, and not only the mine owner, but everybody else will have more dollars to get at and use. The silver miner with 100 ounces now sells his products for 50, and his neighbors would be benefited in having access to twice as many dollars as under the present system of gold. This is a problem that they had back in the 1800s, where the owners of the mines were profiting so heavily, and they were basically creating town coins. So the owner basically owned you, and you couldn't go at up until a certain point when cars were becoming, very readily available. You almost were a slave to your boss because you couldn't walk far enough to get the groceries from a different place. So essentially, you worked for your boss, and they provided you with debt that you almost could never pay back. And I just watched a video about this from Cerro Gordo, where he found a coin out there in the Cerro Gordo mines, and it was almost illegal after a certain point for them to do it. You never know how shady all these miners and all these businesses were actually dealing in. And they really kept people on the lowest end of the pay grade, so the miners weren't making any of the money. And it's just fascinating to go back into times and read these articles where the miners were just trying to get a little bit more for their metals. And essentially, what they were getting at is that bimetallism means an addition to the number of dollars in the general stock and an increased opportunity for the people to get a hold of money with which to meet their obligations. Daily food, drink, family obligations. And that's just something that at one point in time, in the earlier 1800s, it was mainly a profit for the mine owner and not the miners. And so they basically had to go down there, mine the ore, and think about how to outsmart their own boss. And it's not, everything's definitely kind of similar nowadays, but you have to understand that back in these times, they were really, really taken advantage of. And, there was nobody to stick up for them. And there was nobody to figure out right and wrong. And people basically it was the wild, wild west. And that's why I really enjoy all of this information. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a like, because, going back and finding all these random stories, I really think that it's going to be something valuable for this channel, very much so. Just thinking and figuring out how they were thinking back then while they were taking all this metal out of the ground is truly amazing to me. I really hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon.